Howdy folks, let's take a minute and talk about counting weaves. Counting weaves, I'm just going to use this weave here as an example because the idea of beat counting being relatively arbitrary applies to pretty much everything in porn. So when we talk about beats, what the fuck are we talking about? You know, beats are in music, that's like how many beats are in a measure determines your time signature. Most music in the Western world is in 4/4, so it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 2, 2, 3, 4, 3, 2, 3, 4, right? But popular music like waltzes back in the day would be in 3/4, 3/4 beats. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, right? You can also have songs like that fucking Metallica song that's 6/8. So you have 6/8 notes per measure. So that'd be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 3/4 and 6/8 are essentially the same thing, right? Because you take 4, you divide it in 2, you get 8. You take 3, you multiply it by 2, you get 8. You take 3, you multiply it by 2, you get 6. 6/8, 3/4. What's the difference? The difference is emphasis, right? How you count it. So 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3 versus 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. It subdivides the same amount of space in time, the same amount of time differently, right? So that's how beat counting in music is kind of done, right? So with a pattern like this one, how do we count beats? Well, it's cyclical. So cycles per second is hertz. Are cycles per second beats? Not really. We have to time this to music somehow. So that's where the arbitrary nature of this comes in. I could say this is a 1-beat pattern. If I'm spinning to a slow song, I could say 1, 1, 1, 1, right? Or I could do it a 2-beat. 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2. Or I could turn it into, so this beat has this weave has a proper noun title that people have applied to it. Not everyone, just a lot of people have applied to it. They call it the 3-beat weave. The 3-beat weave, right? So that's because you can count it. If you look at one hand, it's 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3, right? And so you can interlink these. You got 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, right? So that 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. My 1 alternates the hands, right? 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. So that's one way to count it. But what if we wanted it to be 4/4? So the 1 is always on the same hand instead of alternating. Well, if we pay attention to our non-native hand, because this weave is symmetrical, right? So you should be able to subdivide this weave into an even number of beats, because symmetry, right? Symmetry wouldn't be 3. You got a 0.5 beat in the middle or something? No. So we can count this in a symmetrical way. How? Well, pay attention to your non-native hand. 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, right? So now we've taken the same amount of time, the same distance in time, and subdivided it, broke it into different chunks according to a different metric, right? Instead of counting the first downbeat and then realizing it happens again over here, subdividing it this way, we're just taking the whole thing, we're looking at the non-native hand, we're looking at it like mirrored symmetry and counting 2 beats per side. We can also, like 6/8, so we can get a 6/8-ish. How do we do that? Every time the poi head passes this moment here of either hand. So what do we get when we do that? Let's try it. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So we got 6/8, right? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1. I messed that last one up and I don't know how, but trust me, you can get 6, 8 out of it. Let's try this again. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1. Like that. If you wanted, you could subdivide it in any arbitrary number of ways that don't even use the cycles that the poi heads are making. But you could still do it, because as long as it's matching the music you're listening to, then you got beats, right? So counting beats is not a hard science. There are ways that certain people prefer to do it, and then there are ways that will match songs, different songs, better, you know? And ultimately, you as the poi spinner, the dancer, the one interpreting the music in a physical form, are responsible for counting the beats in a way that feels good to you and correlates with the music in a way that you like. You're trying to express your shit, right? So however you count beats is the way you count beats. There's no right or wrong way to do it. So if someone tells you you're counting beats wrong, that your subjective experience of poi spinning is wrong, they're wrong. Fuck them. So I hope that kind of clarified. I hope that also gave you some ideas to play with, because there are no wrong moves. You're spinning poi. If it's making you feel good, if it's going to the music in a way you like, if it's not even involved in music, if you're just spinning poi, that's for you. You know, wrong requires a fixed right to be compared against. So if someone tells you you're wrong about the way you spin poi, fuck them.